That was Shannon then, and this is Shannon now. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And joining us also, we have Professor Bruce Campbell from the Stroke Foundation. Bruce, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jo.
Yeah, it's a very gut-wrenching vision to watch you there, Shannon.
Yeah.
And quite emotional. How are you now?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Our family has got a new kind of normal, so yeah, I'm doing well. I'm back at work full time, so yeah.
Can you tell us about your experience of having your stroke? You are a nurse.
Yeah.
So did you recognise what was happening to you?
No, I didn't recognise what was happening to me until my husband called the ambulance and he said, I think my wife is having a stroke, and then I realised I was having a stroke.
What were the physical feelings?
I was thrashing around in bed and I fell out of bed, and Stuart tried to pick me up and I couldn't. I was paralysed down my right side, and I couldn't speak, and I had the telltale facial droop as well. So,
Bruce, can we take a step back? Can you just firstly explain what actually is a stroke?
It's a problem with the blood supply to the brain. It's important you know that. A lot of people don't know the difference between a stroke and a heart attack. Obviously, blood supply problem in the heart attack, painful. Stroke, often painless, and causes weakness down one side, trouble talking, trouble with vision out to one side, numbness down one side. So there's sudden onset symptoms. You'd think that they'd be fairly noticeable, but a lot of people think, oh, maybe I slept funny on my arm. I'll just wait and see if it gets better, which is not the right thing to do.
No, we need to be fast.
We do.
FAST. Yes. I know this. So what are the main causes, and are there groups that are more high risk?
Yeah, the standard risk factors for stroke are things like high blood pressure, which is a problem because you don't actually know if you've got high blood pressure. It's not something that you feel. People say, oh, I can feel my blood pressure rising, but that's because they're upset about something and that causes your blood pressure to rise. But you don't actually know, just sitting here, whether my blood pressure is 140, which is about the upper limit of normal, if it's crept up to 150, 160, which really needs to be treated. And that's the biggest risk factor for both types of stroke, which is the blocked vessel. The most common kind is a blocked blood vessel in the brain, and then more rarely a bleed where there's a burst blood vessel. Beyond that, there's smoking, which is a risk factor for many things, but stroke is one of the things that smoking causes. And then cholesterol levels, if they're too high, diabetes, and then the general lifestyle of being sedentary and obese and all those sort of things that are risk factors for a lot of conditions.
You mentioned fast, and I understand the faster a stroke is treated, the better the chance of a good outcome, which is why spotting the early warning signs, as Shannon's husband did, is paramount. It's National Stroke Week, and this year's theme is Fast Heroes, recognising the people who save lives by recognising the signs, as Bruce just described, and calling an ambulance right away. Fast is the key, and Bruce, can you talk us through what those 4 warning signs are?
Sure. So the F stands for face, and so if you ask someone to smile and their face is droopy, that's the first sign. Arm, so you ask them to hold their arms up, and if one of them drifts down or can't be raised at all, that's a sign. And then speech. So the speech may be slurred or the wrong words, and the wrong words is what Shannon was talking about with aphasia. And any of that jumbled rubbish that might come out is the speech. T stands for time to call AAA, because really we want to get the ambulance activated as soon as possible. If you're lucky in Melbourne, you might get the mobile stroke unit, which can diagnose you at your driveway. But the aim is really to get that hospital process working as quickly as possible so that you can get the scans that tell us what sort of stroke it is and if we can do something to treat it, because we have great treatments to reopen blocked arteries now.
I can't believe there's only one mobile ambulance, stroke unit, in the whole of the country. How is that possible, and how do we get more? What can we do?
So it's about 30 around the world. It's a relatively new concept, and it is something that is a relatively costly investment as well for the health system. So ours in Melbourne is a pilot project that's been funded for 5 years to make sure that this is a good use of money, that it does indeed save disability, which we believe it probably will, but we need to prove that. And if we can do that, then hopefully the funding will follow to have more. We need more than one in Melbourne, but certainly around the country we need many of them.
So this is absolutely fascinating to me, that Botox has recently been funded on the PBS.
Yeah.
How is that relevant to stroke treatment?
One of the issues after stroke is sometimes the muscles that have been weak then become stiff. And if you can imagine, it's hard to move a muscle that's weak. If the muscle then becomes stiff, it's even harder to overcome that. So Botox is a way of selectively, lessening off that stiffness so that people can get the most out of the strength they do have.
Yeah, the message is clear, isn't it? If you think that you or someone close to you is having a stroke, act fast. Professor Campbell and Shannon, thanks for sharing this life-saving information today. We really appreciate it.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.